We're hot in the best ball season right now over at Underdog Fantasy. Redraft season's right around the corner. Training camp will be here soon within a few weeks. We're going to be talking about wide receivers today. How are they going to be looking like in best ball, redraft, their player values, home leagues, what they're valued right now, everything in between with the advanced analytics. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're looking at these players every day. It will be every day until the end of the year. We're getting into redraft season. We're getting into best ball. We're also looking at Dynasty. It's all right here. We're going to help you make those trades, set those lineups all season long. Click that button. Stop missing out. Training camp 2, I got the clips. We'll go over the news. I'll keep you informed, but we're going to start off here with A.J. Brown. There's a trend here with these wide receivers. It's pretty obvious. Let me know in the comment section if you figure it out. Ranked 10th in positional rankings off ADP over at Underdog Fantasy. 16th player off the board. Legit second-round pick. Early second-round pick per the ADP, per the chart below. Being drafted around Drake London, Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr., Derrick Henry, Devin Achane, if you want to throw some running backs in there. But we're up there in terms of cost. But when you look at the wide receiver position, after him, Ladd I like. But after that, you got good wide receivers with some questions. You look at what he did last year. He won you some weeks. He had a fair amount of wide receiver 1 week, 16.7 points per game. He had a couple downers, not many though, but pretty stable when it comes to hitting double-digit production. Targets per game, 7.5, 8 out of around 12. So we're getting deep targets downfield with a good target share, elite at 34.4%. So if the targets ramp up, if we're in more shootouts here in 2025, and we hold it down with a 30+% target share with a good 8 out above 10, double digits, 11, 12, wherever he's at this year, we're looking at a good wide receiver in production. That's why he's getting drafted so hard. And he's also running on 100% of the routes, 26.2 routes per game. The work's there. The work's there. Maybe we're in and out of lineup. That's just part of the game right now. But we're looking at the targets per game. It really depends on the matchup. 5 against the Giants, 6 against the Bengals, 4 against Jacksonville. But you look at the back end of the season, 11, 15, 10 week 1. But usually we're hovering around that 6 to 8 range. 6, 7, 8 targets a game with some upside weeks. So we're getting the volume here. A.J. Brown's a dependable wide receiver. However, it's opportunity cost at this point in the second round. When you're looking at running back, it's deep. But do you want to anchor yourself down at running back? Are you doing it in the first round? Or are you doing it in the second round? If you went wide receiver in the first round, you might be looking at Derrick Henry, Achane, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, or maybe if an Ashton Genty falls, or maybe somebody else. And you might be going round 2 and 3 at running back if you went Malik Neighbors, CeeDee Lamb, or whoever it is that you drafted in the first round. Or did you go like Brian Robinson? And next thing you know, A.J. Brown fell to you. Are you looking in those regards when you're looking at strategy? Are you taking him over Drake London, Brian Thomas Jr.? Are you allowing him to fall back and you're going with more of like a Rashee Rice, T. Higgins? Are you in on Ladd McConkey over him? It's very subjective here in the first and second round. Really depends on your strategy. Are you the type of dude that goes running back, running back, running back, and then you're slamming wide receivers? The strategy here, we're going to get deeper into that down the line in some of these videos, especially when we talk straight up strategy and how to manipulate it. But we're looking at A.J. Brown. One thing we can say is that he's a stud wide receiver, second round. 34.4% target share does not come around easy. ADOT's up there. But we're also looking at Mike Evans. Ranked as the wide receiver, 20 in ADP, 36 overall. Legit third round pick in Underdog Fantasy right now. So when we look at that in home league drafts, just say maybe rounds 4, 5 or so. Really depends on the league. Home league drafts are very wild west. But 24% target share, route participation rate, 82.7%, 8 out of 11.6, so deep downfield. He's always been consistent. When you look at the numbers when it comes to week-to-week fantasy scoring, he's got you a fair amount of wide receiver 1 weeks there with 6 of them. 1 wide receiver 2 week. His down games aren't too bad, but he does have 4 of them that are under double digits in PPR fantasy production. Target-wise, not many downers. We have 2 with 3, but outside of that, we're around that 5 to 6 range, 5 to 7, 8. So solid game to game. But 4 games in double digits, that's solid. Deep targets downfield. As long as we're healthy and on the field, we're going to get that production. We're going to get deep targets. We're going to be able to get that opportunity. It's whether or not we can hold up. Father Time is looking at him harder and harder every season. He's up there in price. Before, he was a little bit cheaper. He was a little bit cheaper in previous years. But the price is up there right now in Underdog. Probably cheaper in home league drafts. Redraft season probably going to be a little bit cheaper, especially right now because we got to get through training camp. He's been out there on the field a little bit. We've seen that in the practice clips. But we're looking at him right now in regards of the other wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. You're looking at those guys drafted behind him. You got Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. Those guys ahead of him, actually. Behind him is Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Jameson Williams. One thing I can let you know right now, just by looking at the chart here, is the market's going very heavy at wide receiver first few rounds in Underdog Fantasy. It's not going to be like that in your traditional redraft leagues, so some of these wide receivers will fan out and some of the running backs will come up a bit. But Mike Evans is great for best ball. That chart below me right there with the green candlesticks, that's great for best ball. Not too many low-end weeks. And if he's healthy and on the field, and him running an 82.7 route participation rate, which it should be 80+% anyways, with a good target share, should be solid. Should be solid. He's great for best ball. Redraft-wise, those down weeks will hurt you a little bit. That age could come to play, and it could come mid-season, training camp, whenever it happens. That's just part of the game right now when you're looking at older prospects. So he is a little bit of a gamble, but you are getting a good A-dot downfield like you've always had. You're getting a good target share, 7.9, pretty much 8 targets per game. It's hard to beat that volume at the wide receiver spot, especially a guy that's been consistent year in and year out. We're looking at Zay Flowers. Injuries came up last year. We're going to watch him pretty hard in training camp, see how he's working out. But drafters are in on him. Round 5, wide receiver 30 off the board, 52 overall. Target share elite, 25.7%. So we're in that elite range above 25%. We're not in that 30% range yet if we get there. But we're looking at the A-dot. It increased compared to the year prior, which I thought it would because in college he had an A-dot in the double digits. His metrics at the combine suggest that he can get the ball deep downfield. His A-dot went up. A lot of people were pegging him to be a short target receiver. Nope. We got A-dot at 10.4. But this is a weird offense. A lot of targets goes to the tight end. They run the ball heavy. We got a rushing quarterback here. 12.3 points per game. Start of the season, everybody was in on Zay Flowers talking up the production. We got 3 wide receiver 1 weeks, 2 wide receiver 2 weeks. But the ups and downs, the fragility of the offense in the passing game, it's not really fragility. It's just how this team likes to cook it up. We got King Henry. If King Henry's up and cooking, if he's not banged up, look for him to get a lot of the touches. Look for him to keep cooking, which is going to impact the passing game. Lamar Jackson's going to take off with it. They use the tight end a lot. So the targets ain't going to be spread around too crazy. 6.8 targets per game with a guy with a 25% target shares. A little bit low. And you look at some of these matchups. 4 targets, 2 targets, 1 targets. We're living that 6 to 7 range. But still, you're looking at the accuracy of the targets downfield, and everything else. Volume in some of these matchups. A little bit up and down, a little bit ambiguous, but also a little bit safe in the token is we got a fair amount of double-digit games, but we can also flatline a little bit. This offense says that. So when you look at him at wide receiver 30, you can get similar production, maybe like 90% of this, a lot cheaper. And maybe with some of the players listed today, you'll see that in their production metrics when we go over them. Like at wide receiver 40 here, we have Jacoby Meyers. You look at the depth chart here, with the Raiders, you got Thornton. Pay attention to him in training camp because he's been cooking a bit. That's what I'm seeing in the practice clips. Jack Betch is there. Trey Tucker. I think we look at Jacoby Meyers. He's got an opportunity to cook this season. He's very cheap. We're going in round 6 in drafts, which means in your home league drafts, round 7, round 8, a good route participation rate when he's out there on the field. We're getting a lot of targets. Different offense, though. They've also made the transaction with Ashton Genty saying, hey, we're going to run the football, but it was also very ambiguous at the running back position last year. He's got a decent A-dot. We're around 10. Target shares pushing elite. We're around that 25% range, and you're getting him at like wide receiver 40-ish price tag. Round 6 Underdog. maybe a little bit cheaper in your home league drafts, which I believe it will be as some of these running backs come up. You're looking at Pacheco, Pollard, Caleb Johnson. Some of these running backs are going to come up, push them down a bit. Wide receivers in his area being drafted ahead of him: Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, Jerry Jeudy, Debo, Matthew Golden behind him, Jaden Reed behind him. And you're looking at the production. 3 wide receiver 1 weeks. Week 18 really depends on your format, though, but there's a lot of people that play that, but it's also an indicator that we can be productive. Also, not many like tremendously low weeks. 6.1, 8.8, 9.9, 6.9, 9.4 with a lot of double-digit weeks. 8.6 targets per game. The volume's there. A little bit cheaper. So if you're slamming running back and you're looking at wide receiver and you're looking at a guy that can get over a 20% target share in this range, this is a player to pay attention to. Good price tag back in a second. If you're looking at redraft, 7th, 8th round, if you're looking at ADOT and target share, it's both there. It's both there. ADOT around 10, target share above 20%. You look at the roster here with the changes. Does not look like that's going to change. Brock Bowers is there. That's actually a big help for him because targets are going to go still to the wide receiver. He's not going to get all of them. And now we got another value here, wide receiver 50. Did you catch the trend? Did you catch the trend? 24.3% target share, 8 out of 11. Solid. We weren't hitting the spec. We weren't hitting to our price point. Now the price point is ultra cheap. 1 wide receiver 1 week. Then also 3 wide receiver 2 weeks. A lot of down weeks. 10.5 points per game. Now the downside is it's very ambiguous at quarterback. We got Danny Dimes. We got Anthony Richardson. It's very ambiguous. The one thing to know is he was dealing with back issues last year. I have that down below and back in the bottom down there. 11 times on the report with a back injury per playerprofiler.com. Still got almost a 25% target share. That is something to pay attention to. The quarterback play is too. It could be up and down again. However, years prior, we were getting multiple wide receiver 1 weeks. And now at this price point, and you got Danny Dimes, who is probably or has a good chance of being the starter this year, might add some value back to Michael Pittman in some of these matchups. I don't expect him to be like a top 10 wide receiver, top 12. I don't think that's really in the cards anymore. But honestly, when you look at the previous years, production was there. And now you got that variable of the back strain last year, him playing through that, being on the field. It's a strain. I can definitely see a player playing through that and that impacting him a bit. And you see the storyline at quarterback last year, how it was ambiguous. You see the other wide receivers stepping up. Alec Pierce stepping up. Josh Downs stepping up. Josh Downs is the dog. Maybe A.D. Mitchell steps up. So there's going to be competition for targets. Still had a 24% target share. That could dip to 20 if some of these other wide receivers dip up. So there is risk here. However, it's cheaper risk. 8th round is kind of expensive here in Underdog, but he's going to be cheaper in redraft leagues. So he might be more in round 9, round 10. So if I'm looking at that in those regards and potential of a 20+% target share, ADOT's going to be up there because he's good at getting downfield with those contested catches. Targets, 7, 5. Lowest is 3 that only got hit 1 time. Next was 4. Mostly in the 5 to 7 range. So maybe we get back here and that's a cheap target for you. Maybe that's a cheap target for you. Let you know that I did not pick these guys because I wanted to, but due to system, if you caught the trend, wide receiver 60 here, Marvin Mims, rank 130 overall. I hope you caught the trend by now, but we're drafted around round 11. Dart throw status, but you look at the running backs here on Underdog, it's deep. It's very deep. You also got other positions of need, like if you're going quarterback late. So it's really hard to look at Marvin Mims, but he's also a candidate that's great for best ball due to him getting you a few wide receiver 1 weeks. He has the potential for that. Doesn't mean he will, but there's competition in this offense. Bo Nix stepping it up. The ADOT is during his rookie season's nasty. He gets a lot of deep targets still, but he's also a candidate just to get yards after the catch. Target share at 9.7. Right now, the trends are saying, hey, you can't trust him week to week. Redraft season, he's going to be even cheaper. He's going to be cheaper due to not having the best ball viability because you got to set those lineups and trust it. But you're looking at him at best ball. He's a good best ball candidate, but opportunity cost. You're looking at some of these running backs. It's going to be hard to take him over like a Trey Benson, over a J.K. Dobbins, Basil Tootin, Rashad White. some of these other running backs that you have on the back end of your roster, no matter what the format is. So really, you got to look at them more when the running back position is tiered off a little bit more. And now you're looking at quarterback. It really depends on your strategy there. There's a lot to look at here. Tight end as well. If you're going late round tight end, you got some guys to pay attention to, some guys that you might be drafting. But Mims here, what I look at him as a guy that's going to get you some pop-off weeks probably. That probably will always be in the cards throughout his career here with the Broncos. It's probably always going to be there. It's going to be hard to rely on that. Courtland Sutton's going to get a damn good target share. Courtland Sutton's going to get a lot. Evan Ingram's there. That's going to be some zapped up targets. You're looking at the run game being rejuvenated here in Denver. So it's going to be hard for the ball to spread around. But I can tell you, Mims is a good quality wide receiver for depth here, for real traditional football. Will be getting some deep targets downfield, some splash game opportunities. Adam Thielen, wide receiver 70. So now we're getting cheaper. As you can see, he was not healthy a lot of the year last year, but still got you 2 wide receiver 1 weeks compared to wide receiver 3 weeks with some previously aforementioned wide receivers. 2 wide receiver 2 weeks, 168 overall. So he's free. He's dirt cheap. Really depends on how you're built here. So one thing you look at him going round 14 of drafts, are you taking shots at lottery ticket running back here? Because that's what I'm really doing in a lot of my drafts. A lot of lottery ticket running backs. Maybe a lot of these rookies too that are below this point that I'm just stashing and hoarding. Redraft definitely, maybe even an underdog. But he's also in a position here where if he's healthy and on the field, could get more targets and realize a 20% target share when he's on the field. ADOT's a little bit low. Expect that with Adam Thielen. But with Bryce Young pushing the ball around, also, they got to worry about T-Mac, especially if he starts cooking really early in his rookie season. That could aid for him as Adam Thielen's looking just to ride off into the sunset here with the Panthers. But a 20% target share, run a lot of routes at 23.2 a game, and that could increase the route participation rate because it's not like he was in all of those games anyways. So that being said, that should increase. The target share should be good. So you're looking at a 20% target share in double-digit rounds. So if you're hurting a wide receiver like you went running back early, and then you picked up more running backs as flyers, and now you're like looking for a wide receiver 3, 4, however your build ended up being. This is a guy to look at because look at the other wide receivers. And McMillan's an interesting prospect, but after it, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, which you can make the case like, hey, he's pushing for a good target share. He's a little cheaper, but Jalen Moltnell, Alec Pierce, Michael Wilson, like I like Adam Thielen in those regards, older wide receiver. But you look at a guy like Michael Wilson, when's that going to come along target share-wise? When he's going to be consistent. Alec Pierce is great for best ball. Redraft, it might be hard for you to want to start him. The consistency wasn't really there, but the deep city targets were. You're looking at Jalen Noel. You want to see how he's going to fit into the offense. Yeah, Kirk there. He's banged up a little bit in practice. Demario Douglas. Want to see how he fits in with Stephon Diggs now. Target share-wise. Wan'Dale Robinson, very similar stature here, target share and ADOT, maybe even a little bit lower ADOT compared to Thielen, if you want to look at somebody with similar stature here when it comes to target share. But if you're looking for a cheap wide receiver, here you go. But I'm leaning more running back when it comes to lottery ticket wide receivers. Darius Slayton, if you can go this deep. Wide receiver 80, 193 overall. I'm still going more running back, though. Sampson, Lloyd, Hunter, Smith. You just got a lot of those deep lottery ticket running backs. Cora, Mitchell, Hunt, Ford. Like, I can really get some of these lottery tickets. And if attrition hits, I have a running back stepping up. If a running back gets hurt, one of these guys are going to be stepping up. One of these deep dart throws. But Darius Slayton, why should you like him? Why should you like him going against that nonsense that I'm saying? Why is Miles Sanders right there so high? But he did get some good buzz in practice. We'll let that go till training camp. Darius Slayton, he gets a good ADOT. ADOT of 13.1. Target share is not going to be there until Malik Neighbors gets hurt, if he gets hurt. If he does, then he's going to have a sample of games where you're chasing him because he's going to get deep targets downfield. Russell Wilson pushes it downfield. He's great for best ball. He's great for best ball. Over a course of the season where you can't pick guys up and you got to stick with that roster, especially if you've got Malik Neighbors. Neighbors goes down. Slayton is great for best ball. Great, because he gets those deep targets. All he has to do is bring in 1 or 2 of them. He's cashing. He's cashing. He is a nightmare for redraft, setting lineups. You do not know unless you're really in purgatory at wide receiver. When I'm looking at this, I'm chasing those running backs That's what I want to say about all these wide receivers in this range. A.D. Mitchell is a guy with a lot of upside that can turn things around. That could be a guy that could start winning some weeks. Dontavian Wicks. We got some more competition there at Green Bay. You're looking at these running backs, though. It's looking pretty juicy. But Roman Wilson has entered the chat. Wide receiver 90. He's free. Like I said, going with running backs. You look at this offense, though. Can Aaron Rodgers fuel 2 wide receivers? Because DK Metcalf is getting easy a 20+% target share, probably 25+% target share. And with him getting 25% target share, Aaron Rodgers has been known to operate at a slower pace. The Steelers, can you honestly look at me in the face and say, hey, this is going to be a fast-paced offense. We're going to run a lot of plays. They're going to run the ball. They're going to slow things down. Aaron Rodgers is going to slow things around. It could be still very efficient. They can still move the chains. They still will probably not have a lot of plays ran game to game to game, making it harder to fuel multiple wide receivers. Why would you like Roman Wilson? Very ambiguous. We got good speed to burn, 4.3 speed. We can create separation. We're always looking good in practice. We were hurt last year, didn't get an opportunity to fail or succeed. So this is really our rookie season. We got to watch him in training camp. We got to see the buzz. I would not be surprised if we catch Roman Wilson training camp buzz. And these numbers, and when it comes to ADP, wide receiver 90, 223 overall, it increases going into August. Trey Tucker. Who's drafting him? Who's drafting Trey Tucker? Drafted wide receiver 100, so not really anybody, but somebody is. Somebody's taking that stance. They might be stacking some Raiders, maybe in some Raiders stacks, but I would be looking at Thornton. I'd be looking at Betch, just more ambiguous upside. He got opportunity last year and didn't run with it. We saw that. When that opportunity came in the You Need video, I said he was going to get about 5 targets per game, and we do not know if he's going to hit with that, but if you need 5 targets per game, here's a wide receiver. And that's all I really said about that in his You Need video. Sometimes there's not really takes on whether the player's good or bad, but hey, how many targets is he going to get? He's going to get about 5 a game. We finished the season 4.8 targets, and during that run, he was around 5 a game. That being said, he did nothing with it. So what's to say if he does get the opportunity to get 5+ targets a game consistently that he's going to run with it because he got his opportunity, he had his moment, he's not going to capture it. 90% route participation rate, that could get reduced if Betch hits, if Thornton hits. I've been hearing good things about Thornton. Been hearing good things. I want to hear more about Thornton in training camp. If I start hearing more about him, and Betch has been getting run in the slot. He's been getting that. He could be their big slot. Bauer's getting targets. I think at this wide receiver 100, I'm taking lottery ticket running back still. I'm just going after that. And if I have to go deep at a Raiders wide receiver, Betch or Thornton for sure. Trey Tucker, though, very hard to get in line with that this early in the process, unless some injuries really do hit this team, but they hit last year. He got more opportunity, did not run with it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you in the next video.